All right, welcome in everyone. I hope you are all doing well today. I'm so excited. I love this game so much. So let's just jump right in and get started. So where we're at is, one sec, I need to adjust my headphone volume. There we go. I feel like I'm yelling in my ear. But I think it should be fine on your guys' side. It's just loud in my ears. Anyways, so where we're at, we finished the second summer. Now we're moving on to the next one. There was no denying it. Today was the very last day of summer. Tomorrow you were heading to class. Ooh. How do we feel about going to class tomorrow? Probably excited. Hey Diamond, welcome in. How you doing? We'll go with excited. Though summer had been fun, Though summer had been fun, you had taken your fill, and now you were longing for a fresh excitement. A new school year was full of potential. What game? This is called Our Life Beginnings and Always? I don't remember what the subtitle is. I think that's what it is. But it is this absolutely beautiful and precious and adorable visual novel that I am loving far too much. We're about maybe halfway through it at this point. I can't remember exactly how many stages there are. There's either 3 or 4. And we're about to start the 3rd stage. I'm guessing there's 4? I don't remember. Anyways, we'll see. Yes, I did play Doki Doki Literature Club. That was an interesting experience, but it was fun. But yeah, I played that a while ago. You got dressed. Not... Wow, I can not read. Let's try this again. You got dressed, not envisioning the day before you, but contemplating what lay ahead of you tomorrow. Life was sure going to be different. You had come to think of the summer vacation. Wow, I cannot read this morning. You had come to think of the summer vacation as the norm, but school stretched out for the majority of the year, whereas the summer vacation was just a break in the middle. So rather than it being different, it was kind of a return to the normal? What did your normal life really mean? I'm most amused awake this morning, but my reading brain is not awake. Okay, bye, so you're gonna watch you what? Okay. Oh, you don't know how you write it. Well, have fun. I hope you have a good day. Thanks for stopping by. You considered how fondly your moms talked about their summer vacations as kids. You dimly recognized that one year the pattern of school and summer itself would be over for good. It was hard to imagine. You got distracted, one arm still out of a sleeve. You pulled it through and put your mind back to the present. This season had brought about plenty of changes of its own, like Kira's visit, though that too was coming to an end today. You're happy you finally got a chance to know her. That's a good one. I'm extremely fond of her, didn't really like her. We'll say we're happy I finally gotten the chance to know her. It was interesting to be around. You liked how easy it was to talk to her. You finished dressing, which was good. Cove would be there any moment. You agreed to see his mom off together. Aw, that's cute. Officially, the plan was that he would come over to bring you around to his house when she was ready to set off. But you both knew that you'd be hanging out for at least a little while beforehand. Kira's visit had troubled Cove when it first happened. It had been a sudden change, thanks to Mr. Holden's infamous tendency to surprise people, but once he was able to adjust, he'd been in pretty good spirits with her around. It was a relief for everyone. The next thought that crossed your mind was, go and be polite to get the door for Cove, and went downstairs to wait. Couldn't wait to see Cove, so he went downstairs to meet him when he arrived. Yeah. You bounded down the stairs, your hand gliding over the rail. You wanted to make sure you got there first. If you didn't hurry, your moms might answer it. It was only a few minutes later when the doorbell rang. As you'd chosen to stand beside it to wait for Cove, there was no delay in pulling it open. Cove was there, just as you'd expected. Seeing you, he flashed a bright grin.
Hey.
Aw. Wait, let me... Hi, Cove, come on in. Once he'd stepped inside, you beckoned him... Once he'd stepped inside, you beckoned for him to follow you upstairs. Back in your room, you sat down on your bed and waited for Cove to settle in as you knew he would. With other guests, you might have offered them a seat, but you and Cove were long past those tentative stages of friendship. Your room was as familiar to him as his own. You watched as Cove sat down on your desk in your desk chair. You watched as Cove sat down in your desk chair. In your desk chair? On your... I feel like I would have said on, but it works too. Anyways, you watched as Cove sat down in your desk chair, his preferred spot. He rolled it close to the bed to make it easier to chat, tweaking the angle so that he was facing you fully. Once happy with the position, he leaned in towards you, hands held in his lap. His actions weren't the ones of someone who planned on moving... His actions weren't the ones of someone who planned on moving from his spot anytime soon, even though you had an appointment to keep together that day. When's your mom leaving?
Don't worry about it.
We've got some time. She's still got to shower and stuff before she goes. She didn't want me to just keep hanging around while she was doing that. He lifted his head, his gaze drifting out through the window, and chuckled. I can't believe she's already leaving. Just when I was getting used to her being here every day. He leaned back in the chair, a wry smile tickling his cheeks. How do we respond? Time's going by so fast. She'll be back. I guess we'll do time's going by so fast. He cocked his head thoughtfully before shrugging. He ran a hand through his hair before shaking his head, as if shaking off the topic, like a dog whipping off water following a dip in the sea. The conversation lapsed into another comfortable lull. Cove swung his feet underneath the seat of the chair, eyes resting on you. Aww. Having him over here was so nice. No matter how you spent the time, you always felt better for being in his company. You couldn't help but adore him, both as a friend and in a way that plucked at your heart, a vague yearning for more. Maybe it was because summer was almost over that your feelings were rushing in on you now, like high tide at the end of a long day. Aw, it's so cute! Summer was such a meaningful time for the two of you. Not only because it was when you first met, but because it was a season that you could both spend almost that you could wow, that you can fail to read. Not only because it was when you first met, but because it was a season that you could spend almost entirely as you pleased, and you both chose to spend it together. We'll let him know. You wanted to let Cove know how much you liked him. Yeah. Now was the time. You couldn't go another day without expressing these feelings you held. Words of affection, confessed by kissing him, or asked if you could kiss him. Let's do words of affection. It was best to be direct with Cove. You didn't want to leave room for ambiguity and misunderstanding at such an important moment. Exactly. Words are important. Cove was your friend. You had always been friends. It meant a lot to you, but you knew deep down that wasn't really all he was. Not anymore. You had to let him know. You looked directly at him. Cove? He had already been watching you, but he lifted his head attentively at the call. Your cheeks were as hot as if you were standing in the midday sun. Cove raised an eyebrow. Your heart raced, the sound rang in your ears, shutting out everything else. Oh boy, what do we say? One of these three in the middle, but which one? I lean towards this one. You're pretty and wonderful and the best person I know. I like you so much. I feel like, yeah, I think we'll do that one. I have a crush on you. I don't know, that one feels kind of shallow. I like you, Cove. I really, really like you. That one just, I don't know. It works. It's just not quite as eloquent. We'll do this one. You're pretty and wonderful and the best person I know. I like you so much. Cove froze in his seat, the only motion coming from his widening eyes. With a jolt, you realized that was literally the only thing he was doing. He hadn't taken a single breath since you uttered the words. Okay, buddy, you can breathe now. Cove, you need to breathe. That's cute. Cove might have envied fish with their gills, but he wasn't a fish. He was a boy on land and needed air to live. You really hope to remember this soon before you need to call your moms in and explain the situation. That's so cute. Bill still had no response. You were starting to clamber off the bed towards him when, finally, he sucked in a deep breath. Okay. Voice cracked on the second syllable, the word at odds with his nervous appearance. His eyes were darting around, unsure of where to place them.
I don't know.
I don't know what to do now. You don't have to do anything. I kind of like you don't have to do anything. Yeah, we'll do that one. Your announcement hadn't been a command, though. You worried that Cove seemed to have taken it as one. Cove tensed, his breathing short and quick. His hands were gripping his knees tightly, like a bird's claws around a branch in a gale, desperately clinging on to safety and stability. I love how poetic some of the lines in this game are. It makes me happy. Well, it also makes me want poetry. I haven't written poetry in so long. I used to do it like weekly, but it's been a while. I should try again. Yeah, thank you for that before. You couldn't help but crack a slight smile at his sudden formalness. He could tell it was ridiculous too.
Sorry.
Sorry for being weird. It's just, I kind of thought or hoped that sometime something like this might happen with us talking about liking each other. Oh, so cute. You did? You were thinking about it before? He nodded ever so slightly. Your face felt a lot hotter after that. Hope brightened a little at your positive reaction, and his explanation continued. Could sort of picture how could sort of picture how it might go. What it'd be like with you and me. Oh, so cute! But just the first part. I couldn't ever imagine anything that'd come after, and now it's actually happened. We're there. It's... He took another deep breath, stuttering on the exhale.
That's,
This makes things different. Do we find a crystal ball for answers? No. This is hard for me. Very much imagined you'd react like this. Things don't have to be different. I think we'll do this one. This is really the only one I like. Because I mean, things don't have to be massively different, but they are going to be slightly different. I don't think hard for me is the right answer. We'll do I pretty much imagined you'd react this way. Sorry. No, that's not a bad thing. I knew it was going to happen and wanted to say it anyway. He chuckled in disbelief at the situation. It was all he could do. His breathing started to level out once again, slowing to a usual steady rhythm. He closed his eyes, drawing himself up as he inhaled deeply. Each word he spoke next was delicate.
Jude.
I like you too. Yay. A lot. Probably way too much. That's cute. He ducked his head bashfully and opened an eye, peeking at you through the hair that had fallen over his face like a veil. He'd managed a smile.
Thanks for waiting for me.
Oh, so cute! His eyes sparkled just looking at you, his affection transparently clear. He never could hide what he was feeling, and you couldn't be more grateful for that today. Do we go in for a kiss now, or just... Or just a hug? No, that's... No, I feel like a kiss is the right thing to do. Yeah. You got up, rapidly closing the short distance between you and Cove, and steadying yourself with a hand on each of his shoulders. No. The chair rolled a couple inches from your sudden movement. Cove pinned to its back, and you pressed your lips to his parted ones before he could speak. Your stomach somersaulted. Your mind was abuzz with nerves, excitement, disbelief, and joy, all tangled so thoroughly that you couldn't distinguish one emotion from the next. In that moment, it felt warm, and it felt nice, and it felt right. Aww. You pulled away only a second or two later. Cove had been stunned into continued silence, his face frozen in the same expression as he'd had when you first leaned in. You took a step back, giving him space to breathe. Cove stood up. His back was rigid, spine as straight as a surfboard, and his face as red as sunburn. Aw, so cute. Cove plastered a hand over his mouth, his eyes shut tight, his back then became bowed, shrinking him down. You could only just make out the few words he managed to summon.
Oh my god!
So cute! I can't believe we actually... His eyes flew open wide, but he didn't look your way, let alone meet your gaze.
Oh my god!
We kissed. We kissed. His reaction is pretty cute. What's his reaction? You watched him adoringly as he tried to gather his senses. Kavolis slammed his eyes closed once again. Do we ask if we liked it or if it was nice? I kind of like this one because it's like positive reinforcement that you enjoyed it, but then also checking and making sure he enjoyed it. So we'll do that. It was nice, wasn't it? He was still holding the hand to his face, but in an attempt to answer, he emitted a muffled whimper. With that obvious not working, he uncovered his face at last, bringing the hand to lay against his chest and looking at you. Yeah. He opened his mouth, poised to speak, and pursed his lips as words failed him. On his third or fourth attempt, you heard what he had to say. Did like it. I'm glad that we, Aw. He swallowed, seemingly not able to speak the actual word. That we kissed? Cove ducked his head but nodded. You got the impression that he was grateful that you'd finished the thought, but your direct words had pierced his Achilles heel. You grinned, thrilled that the experience had been a welcome one. The smile on Cove's face was real but wary, not unlike the one he wore after a long, exhausting day of activity. Like when he'd made a new personal best. The work had been hard, but the reward had been worth it. Aww. Cove then pressed a hand to his creased forehead.
Oh my god.
That's so cute. I love the voice acting. Does that mean I'm your boyfriend or something now? Should we tell our parents? I don't know what Dad or Mom would do. There were a lot of concerns in there. You honed in on the simplest one. There was no way your moms would let you have a boyfriend, even though that word juxtaposed with Cove's name made your heart race. My parents won't let me have a boyfriend, or even a something. I like this one. It doesn't matter though, we like each other and that's what's important. Nothing anybody else thought about your relationship changed what it was between the two of you. Exactly. Cove lifted his hand from his chest and reached towards you, halting halfway, then slowly, cautiously, hooked his fingers around yours, his palm pressed against the back of your hand. You held his hand back. You rotated your hand so that you were palm to palm with Cove, your thumbs crossing one another. We can get it to work. We always figure things out sooner or later. Yay! You're right. No matter what, it's okay in the end when it's the two of us. Your forthright statement made Cove gasp, but the smile that followed and his tighter grip on your hand told you that he appreciated it. Jun, Cove! The sudden call from downstairs got you both unaware. You'd nearly forgotten the world outside your room. From the guilty look on his face, Cove had done the same. Just had a call. Cove's mom was ready to go. If you're quick, she might keep the mandated motherly smothering to a minimum. You doubted that, but it was nice that Mom, Miss Priest, had their strange sense of humor in common. Your eyes met Cove's. Wordlessly, you headed downstairs together. Each step on the way, Each step on the way there was painfully slow, like he was trying to delay the inevitable. His whole body tensed leaving the house, and Cove froze altogether before you both crossed the street.
Oh.
The door is open. Dad must be taking her stuff out. He swallowed hard. She's really gonna leave. Aww. We'll say this isn't the last time you'll ever see her. Or... I don't know, these are all good options. I don't know, I kind of like the, just quiet supportive. Because, obviously he knows this is the last time he'll ever see her, so we'll just do the rest of your hand on his arm. Felt a small shiver ripple through his body as the warmth from your hand sank in. Cove looked at you like he was hoping you had a solution for how he was feeling, and all you could do was just give his arm a squeeze for support. At that, some of the conflict warring on his face eased a bit. Together you went across the street and inside his house, finding his parents in the living room surrounded by his mom's packed things. Hey kids. Good timing, I just called the taxi.
Hi.
And hi June, so glad I get to see you today. It was fabulous getting to know you this summer. I finally got to put a face to the name I've heard so many times. She winked and Cove pouted on cue over the teasing. I'm really happy I got to meet you too. Hopefully it won't be too long before we see each other again. Nodding, Kira turned her attention back to her boys. She patted Cliff on the arm with a warm smile, and then she enveloped Cove in a crushing hug. Initially, Cove squirmed to break free from her grip, but his mom was unfazed and kept him locked in place. Heartbeats later, he gave in and hugged her back tightly.
I'm so glad.
I'm so happy this trip was a success. Cliff looked like he was bursting with pride, and then Cove stiffened. Kira loosened her hold on him enough to steady his face, concerned. She spoke her next words in a whisper that had been meant for just her son.
What do you think?
Do you want to unshelf it? Raising an eyebrow, Cliff watched them carefully. His smile began to falter.
What's wrong?
Cove sighed and his gaze flicked over to you for a moment, and then just as quick it was back on his parents.
It's okay.
Really?
I don't want to do it now. I can tell Dad later. Nervously, you watched the exchange with the growing suspicion that Cove didn't want to have that conversation while you were there. You wondered if you should offer to leave when Kira gave Cove a pat on the head.
All right.
You can always call me if you want me to be part of the conversation, okay? I'll call. Thanks, Mom. Cliff still looked baffled about what Kira and Cove were referring to, but you watch as his shoulders slowly relax. You figure that he decided to wait for Cove to be ready to talk to him. And with Cliff's silence, things seemed to be settled for now. After that, it wasn't long before the taxi arrived. Rolling up in front of the house and After that, it wasn't long before the taxi arrived, rolling up in front of the house and in clear view of the open door. Kira stood up, smiling sadly.
Well.
Well, that's my ride. Yeah. The matching reply got a chuckle out of Kira as you all filed out of the house. Father and son went with Kira's bags in hand. Once outside, you spot your family waiting by the street, and to your surprise, Derek was also with them. He stood uncomfortably and he waved as soon as he noticed you.
What's up?
Hi June, hi Cove. When did you get here? My dad dropped me off just a little bit ago. I thought I could visit one more time before school started.
Sorry.
You picked a busy time. Sorry. Derek couldn't even look at Cove. He nervously kept rolling a pebble with the bottom of his shoe.
Sorry.
I wasn't even thinking that your mom would be leaving today. I'm sorry, dude. What? You're not interrupting it. What? You're not interrupting anything. You're always welcome here. It would have been sad if I didn't get to say goodbye before leaving. I think so too. It was apparent Derek would have preferred to have gotten there at a more opportune moment. He never liked seeming impolite, but their reassuring words soothed his worries. The tension he was holding his body lessened, and he looked like he was feeling much more like himself. Bye, Derek. It was fun getting to know you. Bye, ma'am. Is there anything I can do to help?
Nah.
Don't worry yourself over that. We're just about set. In that short amount of time, Cliff had gathered and packed the bags into the trunk. Kier took one last look at everyone inside. Alright, I don't want to keep the driver waiting. It's time to head out. The little crowd that had formed around started their chorus of farewells and well wishes. Wow, let's try that again. My brain just lagged. Okay. The little crowd that had formed around started their chorus of farewells and well wishes traveling, but Kira still made no move to get in the taxi. She placed her attention on Cove. I'll call when I get to the airport, and when I make it to Nevada. Also, you better call the moment you walk in the door at home. Otherwise, we'll be worrying all night if you got into trouble on the way there.
Can do.
I can do that. And could you call tomorrow too, so I can tell you how school went? Of course, I want to hear all about it. Kira put a hand on Cove's head and affectionately ruffled his hair one last time. She then let go, only to move into squeezing his cheeks in her hands instead. Mom,
Cove.
I love you so much, baby. She was chuckling by the time she freed him and rounded things off with a small tap to the tip of his nose. Cove rubbed at his face with a grin. Finally, she walked to the car while waving and took her seat in the taxi. Cliff hooked her arm around Cove's shoulders and kept him close as it began to pull away. For a moment, Cove looked up at his dad, then wrapped an arm across his back.
Bye.
Bye, Mom. Bye, safe travels. Kira rolled down the window and stuck her head out of it. She waved again while blowing kisses at Cove and Cliff. See you again. Before she was out of sight, you decided to... We're just gonna wave goodbye. As the taxi headed down the road, you stuck your hand in the air to send her off. The cab turned down another road and completely disappeared from view. Cove let go of his dad and took a few steps out into the empty street, still looking in the direction his mom went. He smiled quietly, deep in thought. You got the impression Cove was feeling better than he was earlier. He was finally content with the way things were. Summer breeze brought a sweet-sounding jingle across the way. It was the wind chime you had given Cove. He had hung it on the front of his house, and had become a very familiar sound in this neighborhood. You jumped a bit when your mom put a hand on your shoulder, pulling you away from your thoughts. She smiled when you looked at her. This was a great vacation, huh? Or isn't it over until the second I fall asleep? I'll just say yeah. That's what I was hoping to hear. Cove walked back over to the group, still genuinely happy. Derek grinned at him welcomingly. and everyone else there smiled at him, even Elizabeth.
Well?
Ma clapped her hands together, bringing everyone's attention back to the present. It's almost lunchtime. I think I'll put something special together. Her eyes sparkled with a plan, and Mom smiled. I bet you could use some help with that. That'd be absolutely wonderful. Derek glanced between the two, his eyebrows furrowed. Is there something I could do? Your mom's exchanged a fond expression. Ma shook her head.
How sweet.
That's very sweet, Derek, but it's alright. It's not your job. It's not your job. Technically, your dad left you under Cliff's watch. You're meant to be taken care of by him, not doing chores for the neighbors. Mom laughed a little over her own joke. You watched Derek look away, discouraged.
It's okay.
It's okay, I don't mind. He was a little bashful about it. You wondered if Mom's joke had just reminded him that he wasn't initially meant to be invited to lunch. It was getting a little awkward. Mom grinned sympathetically. Her comment was meant to lighten the mood, not bring it back down. Ma tried again to get things moving forward. Why don't you kids go have fun? You can all come back in about an hour. We'll make enough for everyone. Mom nodded in agreement.
Sounds good.
Another stunning idea, Lonnie. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That sounds like a plan then. I don't want to cramp your style. I've got some I've got some stuff to work on, so I can be out of your hair this afternoon. You should come by later too. No reason you should be the odd man out. Mom seemed amused as Cliff rubbed his neck nervously. He grinned a wavering but pleased smile.
Thanks very much.
I appreciate the invite. He looked over the assembled crowd with knowing glances. I can help too. With as many people as you're feeding, it's gonna be a lot of food. Didn't you hear what we told Derek? It wouldn't be fair to make you cook when we're the ones who are inviting you. Mom raised an eyebrow when Cliff waved it off.
Come on.
I insist. Derek would be missing time with his pals. This would be a break for me. I am quite the chef. Ma and Mom exchanged further glances before Mom shrugged. An airtight argument. If you're sure, we'll be happy to have you, Chef Cliff. Cliff's grin widened and seemed more hyped than you'd expected him to be about helping with lunch. Cove shook his head, a fond smile on his face. Then all of us grown-up people will be heading inside. I assume the rest of you kiddos are staying out? Maybe not all of them. Ma tilted her head, a silent question for Elizabeth. Your sister thought for a moment.
All right.
I'll stay with the kids. Sounds so grown up. She's not that much older than us.
That's fantastic.
Both your moms smiled at her, while Derek and Cove didn't seem to appreciate her phrasing. But with the plan decided, all three parents waved and headed for your house. It was just you teenagers now. Elizabeth looked at you and the others, a curious expression on her face.
So,
what now? You silently wonder if Elizabeth only stayed out with you to avoid getting roped into working. Fair point. Then again, she could just genuinely want to hang out. You couldn't tell with your sister. Cove spoke up after no one else did to answer Elizabeth's question. Want to go down to the shopping street? It's been a while, and I don't think there's a lot of other things we could agree on. Yeah, sure.
awesome.
Sounds awesome to me. Unlike you guys, I haven't been there 1,001 times. It's new to me. Let's do it. You strolled across the road as a group, down to the beach, and then to the left. I want to go to the beach. So pretty. A took less than 50 minutes to arrive. One of the conveniences of Sunset Bird. The four of you looked around the familiar shops, trying to see if anything got your attention this time. Derek was the most enthusiastic. He checked out every stall with his eyes wide with wonder. Elizabeth and Cove were in good spirits as well. That's so cool! He ran over to a street magician who was currently doing card tricks for a group of enchanted tourists. Derek clapped when the magician showed a middle-aged man his card. Derek... That was loud. Derek turned back to the group with a curious gleam on his face. What does it take to perform here anyways? Do you have to ask someone, or do you just show up and start doing stuff? Who would you even ask? It's a public street. Hey, Miss Mayor, can I pull a rabbit out of my hat? Please, Flopsy is well behaved, I promise. Derek chuckled, his eyes searching up and down the scene.
Maybe?
Maybe there's a boss of the shopping street? No one does any of this around my neighborhood. It's just regular stores behind walls. It's different if someone wants a real store, but here, I'm pretty sure people are just putting on their little shows whenever they want to and do whatever. That's so neat. Would we be allowed to do something too? Cove laughed, and Derek began almost vibrating with excitement. Elizabeth rolled her eyes. What would we do? Well, I don't know what. Not yet. I mean, I just found out it's a possibility, you know. But there's gotta be something. We know cool stuff. I'm sure if we think about it, we could plan a show that'd really get a crowd pumped. We're just gonna look at the other two. Gave a look to the other two. Derek continued to brainstorm out loud about different potential performances, while you glanced over at Cove and Elizabeth. I mean, I can bounce a soccer ball in my head. Last time I tried, I got 8 bounces before it fell. I wouldn't bring a ball here.
Why?
Why not? Cove gestured to everything around, the stalls, the people, all the colorful chaos that made up the shopping street. Would you want to chase a lost ball here? Or what if it hit somebody? Even if you're good, someone else could bump into you. That's true. Derek thought about it some more. Then he watched another performance. A woman doing tricks with 2 small dogs. One was fluffy and cream-colored, while the other was a cool gray. The woman held up rings. Both animals jumped through the openings, happy to receive a treat at the end. Derek brightened. Maybe I'll teach crabs how to race. Crabs? Good work. With some amusement, the gang continued to peruse the stalls. Elizabeth found some earrings with a dangling, badly misprinted globe that everyone laughed at. Cove picked out a blob as Iceland, but Derek thought it had to be Greenland. This is a world with what looks like 9 continents. I think you're both wrong. We're gonna side with Cove. It looks like Iceland to me.
No.
Right? Suddenly Cove froze. You stared at him and then tried to see what caught his attention. When you saw a familiar face down the way, it all made sense. Oh no. Please don't be Jeremy. No! Not Jeremy again. Between the crowds, his bright hair stood out like a neon green bowl in a kitchen sink. It was Jeremy. Oh boy. Here we go. Let's do this. Jeremy slowly drifted his eyes down the street, and his eyes widened in mutual recognition. He definitely noticed you. Derek frowned, and Cove tensed up. You couldn't help but remember the last time you'd seen Jeremy at Miranda's birthday party. No wonder Cove was already defensive. You know what, we're just gonna... He knows we saw them. You know what, we're just gonna look away. Maybe if we don't look, he'll go get distracted by something else? You didn't want to even start with Jeremy shenanigans today. Yeah, me neither. Elizabeth raised an eyebrow. Her gaze swept over Jeremy without a hint of a clue. Jeremy simply scoffed to himself and waded deeper into the crowd of people. Derek relaxed and exhaled loudly. Oh, thank goodness. I'm glad he's not going to start anything. He peeked over at Elizabeth with a tiny smirk. See? That was the mean kid.
What?
She still didn't get it. That first summer day hadn't made nearly as much of an impression on her as it did for Derek, but he smiled and waved it off. Just forget about him. Already have. He laughed and Cove smiled lightly. He seemed in a much better mood now that Jeremy was gone. Your eyes wandered over to where Jeremy disappeared. You hadn't forgotten the day you met him either. He was only going to be in town for a vacation with the parents he hated. That glimpse was probably the last time you would ever see him. We don't need to bring him up more. Elizabeth snapped her fingers in front of your face. Apparently you had spaced out. Cove and Derek were already at the next stall. Come on, unless you want to get left here. You nodded and caught up with the others. Cove raised an eyebrow. What were you thinking about? Nothing. He gave you a searching look, but let it drop when Derek yelled at you to go check something out. Jeremy was unlike anyone you had ever met before. Honestly, I think he's kind of pitiful. You and the group moved on from the stall and from Jeremy. It didn't take long for everyone to return to the joking. You all enjoyed what little time you had left, as Elizabeth mentioned the hour was almost up. The little trip had flown by, and lunch must have been waiting for you by now. Derek bounced on the balls of his feet.
Okay.
Come on guys, let's get going so we can eat. I'm starving. Let's do Homebound. Here we go. I don't know, I kind of like that one. Cove stretched one of his arms lazily. Let's go then. You look at him appraisingly. You ask Cove to carry you back to the house? No, it seems a little odd. Kinda cute, but odd, so we'll just nod at him. Oh yeah, especially with Elizabeth around. She would just, tease us constantly. Then you followed Elizabeth as she took it upon herself to lead the way home. She walked fast, much faster than Derek preferred. She kept gaining a lead, and then Derek would jog back up to the group. With Cove's long legs, he had no trouble keeping up. Obviously, we're walking with Cove. You kept close to your neighbor, you both chatting about things you'd seen at the shopping street. with Derek chiming in every so often. You caught Cove smiling at you a couple times. Aw, he was happy you were spending time with him. It was a pleasant walk home, and in no time you had made it back. Derek got to the front door and held it open for everyone as you each moseyed inside. The three parents were still in the kitchen. They looked up and waved. Welcome back, everyone. You made it just in time.
Hey!
Hope you're hungry. So, did everyone have a nice time out? She gestured for people to take a seat at the table. Plates and silverware had already been placed out. You took your normal seat. Elizabeth sat across from you, and Derek took the seat to your left. Wolf sat on your right. But he blushed a little and began fidgeting with his silverware. His dad was the first to pick up on his extra awkwardness, but your moms weren't far behind. Oh boy. The parent, I can't read. The parent shared looks at Co's reaction. It seemed that he was struggling with how to act normal around his dad or your parents, or both. After what happened between the two of you upstairs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we had a great time. Yeah, it was fine. I had fun. Yeah, the bank heist. I hate bank heist. Went off without a hitch. I actually kind of like that answer. But yeah, I really liked it. We'll do this one, because I mean, might distract, might lighten the mood a little bit. Maybe get the parents off Co's back. We'll see. Yeah, the bank heist went off without a hitch. Your joke got some chuckles going around the table. That's good in my book. Casually, Mr. Holden sat in the empty seat across from Cove. He smiled at you and all the other kids. Mom set down a platter full of Mom set down a platter full of water glasses on the table. She looked down at the gathering. It's a good thing we have 8 chairs. I can't remember the last time we've had a group this big over for a meal. Can you pass the drinks down to the other side? Make sure you all get one. Sure. Those close to the cups obliged and started offering waters around. As you passed Cove his drink, your hands touched. Cave froze. You already let go, not realizing that he was too distracted to function at the moment. Uh-oh. The glass fell down to the table, landing with a sharp clatter of glass on wood. Cove scooted his chair back with a restrained shout.
Sorry.
Sorry, I'll get a towel or something? Looked around in frantic panic, as if an object to soak up the water would magically appear if he turned his head fast enough. His dad bit his lip in worry, rising from his own seat.
Well...
Cove, what's going on? You've been a little out of it today. Did something happen? Cove tensed, frozen again. He stared at the water on the tabletop as if he wanted to sink into it. We'll cover for him. If something did happen, you should wait for Cove to want to talk about it. Trying to make him say things in front of everyone wouldn't be good. Mr. Holden nodded slowly. He still seemed worried, but after another look at Cove, he smiled sympathetically.
Right.
Well said, June. I'm here when you're ready, son.
Of course.
Cove breathed a sigh of relief and shot you an apologetic look. You shot him a covert thumbs up. As everything got set up, Ma chided Elizabeth to take her elbows off the table.
Now,
And you shouldn't slouch. She pointed to Mr. Holden, who was leaning forward with both arms on the table. Oops. Mr. Holden seemed unsure about all the sudden attention and carefully rearranged his posture to something suitable for a fancy dinner. He smiled sheepishly at Ma. Elizabeth rolled her eyes and Ma gave a level look at her. You shouldn't be impolite to a guest in the house either. Elizabeth groaned, long and long-suffering. Ma giggled and Mr. Holden chuckled.
not bad.
A lot of you could learn a thing or two from Derek. He has the best manners here. Derek blushed, but it was true. His posture was upright and formal. He even held his fork gracefully. His table manners, on top of all his attempts to aid your parents, made him the model of a meal attendee behavior.
Aw.
It's nothing. It's true, though. You have been a lovely guest. I've noticed that too. It's always nice when you stay over, Derek. Derek smiled and sat a little taller in his chair. And do you have anything good to say about your other guest? She looked deliberately at Cove with a teasing smirk. Or is there just nothing to say? Well, Cove is my number one, but he does still clean his hands by wiping them on his pants. Drop something, but I don't want to pick it. Okay. Cove frowned at that and absent-mindedly brushed his hands on his pant legs. Your mom laughed lightly.
There.
Yeah, actually, I do need to grab something. One moment. Okay, I'm back. Elizabeth, you should know. After all these years, Cove is hardly a guest anymore. Cove smiled awkwardly. Thanks? Manners. I'll just keep quiet and take a bite of food. The parents had made an excellent lunch. You took another bite and minded your business. Everyone ate their meal together and continued to hang out for the afternoon. After the food, you and the others played a couple games and talked about plans for the upcoming year. The time passed by quickly, and soon was time to part ways. Mr. Holden talked to your moms, and Cove drifted over to you, knowing that as soon as his dad finished up, he would be leaving. It'd be cool to stay, but we have some stuff to do before everything closes today.
Okay.
Yeah, bye. Could you move? I need the phone. Cove raised an eyebrow, and Elizabeth impatiently gestured behind him. Cove realized he was standing right in front of where the receiver was placed. He sidestepped out of the way and shook his head, clearly thinking Elizabeth was rushing too much. Your sister made a beeline for the phone and started dialing the number of what she figured was one of her friends. Knowing Elizabeth, she was going to be on there for a while. You, Cove, and Derek shuffled closer to the door. It seemed like Mr. Holden was wrapping up his conversation, so everyone started saying their various farewells.
Talk to you later.
See you later, Cove. We gotta do this again sometime. Yeah, see you. Cove turned to you and smiled slightly. Bye, June. I don't know, the parents are like right nearby, so we're not gonna do a hug. We'll just nudge his shoulder. You elbowed Ko's shoulder playfully. I'll see you later. I hope so. It's been fun. He grinned widely and nudged you back. There was a warm look in his eyes that you wondered when you'd seen again.
Dude.
Oh, I forgot Derek's still here too. Seriously, dude, we'll have to hang out later. I'm gonna miss you during school. He offered Cove a high five, and the two boys clapped their hands together. Cove and his dad left soon after that. Your parents started cleaning up the house, and Elizabeth was still chatting to her friend on the phone. It was just you and Derek left. He elected to stay outside in front of the house to wait for his dad to pick him up. You decided to keep your guest company, although he was originally Cove's visitor. A light summer breeze blew through your hair, and Derek shifted his weight from foot to foot. Thanks for waiting with me. He kicked at the ground distractedly. That's still gonna be a while, so do you want to go for a walk? Sure, I don't mind. The two of you walked down the street again, just wandering without a destination planned. It was a quiet stroll, too quiet for Derek being the company. You turned to him when you had noticed he wasn't saying a word. That was unusual. Derek always had something he could chat about. You weren't sure if you should ask about it. Somehow you ended up at the old park near the beach. You glanced over to Derek once more, still expecting him to say something any second now. However, nothing came from him. In fact, now you noticed a frown creeping on his face. Derek smiled when he realized you were watching. At least his mouth was turned up. There wasn't anything that really felt happy about the expression. He turned away and the smile fell off his face. His eyes stared intently at the ground and you raised an eyebrow. I'll just ask if everything's okay. I'm a little sad. With school starting back up again, it's gonna be harder to visit. I'm gonna have homework and clubs and practices and everything else.
This sucks.
It really sucks we go to different schools. His face screwed up and his fists were closed tightly together. This was really concerning him. What if we don't have time? We're gonna channel some optimism into the conversation. Partially because I just like the way that was phrased. We'll make time. We can talk over the phone and have plans for weekends. It'll be okay. Derek looked up at the sky. It was orange and purple with little wisps of clouds scattered around. A plane flew high with a jet stream trailing behind it. Then he turned to the ground again. Derek's face was tilted far enough down that it was hard to read his expression. Hey June, I actually want to talk to you about something, if you don't mind. There was a pause and you waited for him to finish his thought.
Sorry.
I was just kind of wondering, do you like guys at all? Like, would you ever want to be with someone who was a boy? Sorry if that's weird to ask. Yeah, I'll just be honest. Sure, I could be with a guy. Okay, then... What is that expression? He looks so adorably serious. Better not be about to confess to me, because I don't want to, like, break his heart, but it's not gonna happen. He hesitated before finishing his question.
So,
What I mean is... is there any guy you think is kind of cool that you like... Or, cool that you like? Around here? Not at school or anything. Like that? He ducked his head further. You already knew the answer. You had confronted that very topic this afternoon. Do we just straight up tell him, or we could probably tell him? Because he'll figure out sooner or later. And I feel like he's polite enough not to, like, blab to people we don't want to know yet. Yeah, we'll say I like Cove. Oh, that knowing face. Derek chuckled and didn't look at all surprised. Yeah, I kinda thought so. That's cool. I really hope things work out. Thanks for answering my random questions. He shot you a thumbs up. I hope we'll all be friends, no matter what. Even if we don't see each other for a long time, or if we get really busy, I still hope. He cut himself off and met your eyes. There's something serious to him. Sincerely worried that you'd fall out of friendship. I hope so too. I want us to be friends forever. Yeah. Derek smiled, mostly to himself. He seemed a little more like usual. Then for sure, we have to make the most of next year, then the year after that, and the year after that. He rambled on for a while about things. We'll just make the most of every year. Right. You smiled and it felt like your friendship was still strong. You didn't spend much longer at the park after that. Derek didn't want to miss his dad. So you both made your way back to your street. After Derek went home, you decided to settle in for the night. Stretching your arms over your head, you noticed that the living room and phone were free. Colleen, you know what? We're just gonna take it easy. We've had a very busy day. You flop onto the couch and wiggle until your position just right, and you knew when it was perfect because all the exhaustion from the day started fading away. Sighing contentedly, you were pleased with this end to the day. Looking at the clock on the wall, you saw that there was only about 10 minutes until your moms would be insisting you go to bed so you could be rested enough for school. You stretched your legs out on the couch and sighed in defeat, watching the minute hand change 1 minute closer to bedtime. You rearranged yourself, feeling restless, and looked out the window. Startled initially, you spotted a figure out on the hills. It was Cove. When the surprise faded, you realized it really wasn't that much of a shock at all. It was exactly something Cove would do. Went outside to meet him, or ran off to go see him? And ran off to go see him. Okay, but before we continue this, we are going to take a quick break because I need to get some more water. So, feel free, get up, stretch your legs, get some food, get some water, do whatever you need to do, or just stay here and hang out, whatever you want. We're going to take a quick break. I'll be back in a few minutes after I get some more water. So yeah, be right back. I'm back. I have water. I'm good to go. Okay. Sprinting, you reached the front door in record time. You didn't think you'd see Cove again that day. You had to go to him. When you arrived, you noticed how many fireflies were out that night. They drifted along lazily, barely minding your presence as you waded Wow, why can't I read? Let's try this again. They drifted along lazily, barely minding your presence as you waded through to reach the top of the hill. Cove turned towards you as you approached, and you noticed right away that Cove looked happy to see you. Hey. You had a bounce in your step. You weren't sure how long you'd get before your mom roped you back inside for bed. Hey, what are you doing out here?
Nothing.
Nothing really. He shrugged, seeming unhappy with his own answer. You stared at him, waiting for him to continue. Well, I guess I was feeling kind of weird about stuff, so I'm getting some fresh air before bed. How do you feel, or hope you feel better? I'll say I hope you feel better. Mouth pulled into a bent smile. He spoke so quietly that you almost missed it. I think I will. Aww. He'll let himself fall back onto his butt and then all the way down so he was laying on his back. He looked up at the sky. You sat on his chest? No, we're gonna lay down next to him. You lowered yourself to lay back on the hill. He had been lost in thought, or was possibly waiting for you to situate yourself. But he started speaking unprompted again.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry for being kind of awkward when my mom was leaving. Surprised, you stared at him for a moment. You weren't expecting that. I just want you to know that I talked to my dad about how I felt and things. It's okay now. You were genuinely glad to hear that. It brought a small smile to your face, but your thoughts quickly wandered back to the first day you met Mr. Holden. Did his dad confess about that? From the way Cove talked, you guess he hadn't. Well, there was more Cove and his dad to talk about, but it was a relief to know that they had made a start. Now was not a good time to bring up that what you were thinking, though. You could wait longer to say it. It was almost unbelievable how much of an impact he had made on your life just by moving in next door. You couldn't even imagine what your days might have looked like in a world where you hadn't met him. Cove glanced back at you, waiting for a response, and you had no idea what to say. Then, still without a word from you, Cove shook his head strongly. What? It's you. Huh? He snickered before answering. He looked thoroughly amused with your reaction. That's what you do all the time, so I'm being you. I'll say I don't do it that much. He'll burst into deep laughter. When it slowed, he continued to grin. Honestly, there weren't many people you could think of who could tease you about something like that. Returning his smile, you realized there was no denying that you two have been around each other for a long time. Cove broke the quiet before it could fully settle in.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Yeah, see you then. With the final wave, Cove headed for home, but you stayed there a few minutes longer. Your mind kept going back to his simple statement, see you tomorrow. No matter how much was changing around you, there were some things in your life that always seemed to remain true. The hills felt warm to you that night. Before you knew it, you were getting comfortable under the covers in your room. Your mind couldn't help but still be buzzing with thoughts about the future. It was hard not to think about Cove. There hadn't been enough time to really figure it all out after what happened between you. Felt excited. There was little doubt in your mind that things were moving forward, and you couldn't wait to find out what changes were waiting for you on the horizon. Slowly, your eyes grew heavy as you drifted off to sleep, your mind spinning with wishful thoughts. No matter what happened next, you could only hope that you would make the most of it. You were ensnared in a dream when a noise from outside. You were ensnared in a dream when a noise from the outside world jostled you. We'll open our eyes. The light clatter continued. Now that you were more alert, you could distinguish it as a tapping sound. Quiet, slow, but persistent. Each beat was like being poked. You couldn't ignore it. You lifted your head from the pillow and looked for the source. Not much work was needed to puzzle it out. It was from the window. With that, you knew exactly what it was. From the color of the light filtering into your room, it was too early for anyone to be awake, including the sun. It had barely hauled itself over the horizon, but that hadn't stopped some people, it seemed. You sat up in bed and opened the window wide. Cool air, not yet warmed by the day, tickled your face as it pushed into your room. And just as you'd expected, there was your neighbor crouching on your windowsill. He was fully dressed, though not for school. Aww. He was wearing a wetsuit and a shy smile. Morning surfing before school? Let's go.
June.
You stared back, blinking. So technically we won't be back at school for a few more hours. His voice was delicate but deliberate, each word a careful explanation. Classes haven't actually started yet, so do you want to hit the beach with me one more time? One more time this summer. Yes, that's so cute. Let's go. Okay, Cove, you're so cute is a good answer, but we're going with always. His smile widened affectionately. You rushed to get changed into something suitable while Cove climbed back down to the ground level. Your limbs, still half asleep, struggled somewhat in your attempt to coordinate them into a swimsuit, but you got there in the end. Soon you were tiptoeing out of your front door, clutching a towel. Cove was already there to greet you. Your eyes met. Cove's gaze started to your destination and back to you. You checked the door was closed and gave him a thumbs up, and the two of you leapt into action. Wordlessly, you began to run down the familiar path ahead, Cove beside you. The thrill of your illicit outing made you want to laugh. Not that you dared. If anyone in your family looked out a window and saw you, then your summer will be back to being over. One glance at Cove told you that he was exactly the same, holding back snickers for fear of being hurt and caught. The towel streamed out from under your arm like a cape. You were running so fast, downhill, that simply keeping your balance and not tumbling down was a real threat. It just wasn't enough of one to make you slow your pace. For every step you took, the beach was a little closer and the day a little brighter. What lay ahead of you would arrive, and you were happy to meet it. Aw, so cute. That's so fun too. Early morning beach excursion. I love it. I love the beach first thing in the morning before everyone else is awake. It's lovely. Okay, do we want to change anything about our appearance? I don't think so. Can't even see the earrings, so. Options? Jewels, pattern. Let's do jewel. Look at that nose ring. Nail color. Red, blue, green. Oh, those are all good colors. Oh no, I'm feeling green. Yeah, short green nails. I'm being indecisive about the ring again. Pattern, plain. You know, let's actually do plain. Okay. So I think we'll keep relaxed. I like relaxed. But we are moving on. No more crush. We're now at the love level. Let's see. Oh, what can we change? Oh, he has that hairstyle. That's my favorite. Oh no, I like all these hair options. Oh no. I do really like. It's just like standard. Like I like the front of this better than the front of this, but I love long hair though. This is hard. I love long hair, but for some reason I just really like that hair on him, so I think we'll leave it. Oh, all these glasses options look good too. Let's do those ones. Earrings? I can't really see. Well, you still can't really see the earrings. Sure, we'll do that. These are all good options. I think I like that one though. Oh, that's pretty. I like that one. I'll do the black. Yeah, that's an interesting design. I don't know if I like it. Well, those are the only options, just two different colors. Do that one. Yeah. Well, I could do different hair here, so I could do... I mean, it's kind of backwards to like... Well, no, that also does make sense because the hair is changing length. Now we'll just keep the same hair. We'll do no glasses for the pajama outfit because why not? Only 2 options? Okay, we'll do that one then. I'll keep the hair the same on all of them. Ooh. I like this color. I don't really like the pattern. I mean, it could work. Okay, I think we will do the tied back hair. Maybe. Like, it doesn't really make sense because the hair is changing length. I mean, I guess you could put extensions in for a formal party, sure. We'll do that. I think that's the shirt I want. I don't like the pattern, but I like the color. Oh dear, I'm being indecisive. Would look better. Glasses? Maybe. Yeah, sure, we'll do that. Wait, no, I don't want those glasses. Those glasses. Oh wait, does the hair change? Oh, the hair changes on all of them. You can't mix it up. I knew that. We'll do that. I think, or... do I want the glasses or not? I'm being so indecisive. No, we'll do it like that. Yeah. Blah, 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 blah. I really love how, like, customizable this game is. It's so cool. I'm thinking middle initiative. Seems like a good option. Yeah. Okay, on to the next step. I'm so excited. Okay, the start of classes ended the relaxed free days of summer. It didn't take long for you to get back into the swing of the school year routine. Schedules and homework became the new normal. Derek wasn't around nearly as much. With school and after school activities, there weren't many opportunities for him to take the trip out to your neighborhood. Sometimes you'd hear that he was at a training camp or something like that, but you weren't always sure what he was up to. We'll keep in contact over the phone as best you could. Jeremy the kid did disappear after the summer, and no one ever heard from him again. Where he went or what he might be up to was a mystery. You saw more Miranda around. Since you had hung out with her on her birthday, she had opened up to you. The two of you talked regularly. She was the same towards Cove. After a while, all three of you developed a real friendship together. Aw, that's sweet. More summers came and went, like the waves on the shore coming in and out. In your second year of high school, someone new started to visit Sunset Bird, a sunny girl named Terry Brooke. She was a friend Cove made due to both of them being ocean obsessed. Terry was more than glad to befriend you two. Someone close to Cove had to be good company, she felt. You were pleased to get along with her as well. Funnily enough, Terry was also extremely tight with Miranda, who she had known for even longer than Cove. The four of you were able to create a small friend circle. As for your home life, the Wordweavers also had developments. Changing laws and public perception company-wide made it possible for your moms to openly wear their wedding rings without question. Though they had a wedding years ago, it was only recently that the union was officially recognized everywhere in the US. That was a good day, to say the least. Elizabeth came into her own and stopped being quite as irritable. She no longer worried about She'd no longer worried about perceived childishness as she grew up for real. She didn't even mind being called Lizzie again, though most people used Liz. She eventually graduated high school and moved out to attend college in another state. It was a lot for you to adjust to your older sister being gone. Liz never let you forget her role in your life, though, and kept in touch. Cove's relationships with his family improved over the years. Kira visited several times after that summer. Things became easier between the two. He was also closer with his dad than ever before. You knew they talked more, and that helped prevent a lot of friction before it could start. And Cove only continued to open up, to his parents and the rest of the world. He was so bright he shone. He would willingly join conversations, make jokes, and put in an effort not to use overly blunt phrasing. Cove had shifted from preferring athletics to becoming more seriously studious as his schooling went on. Things had shifted between you and Cove, but in a way that most couldn't see. After all this time, he wasn't just your neighbor, he wasn't only your friend, or even a guy you were interested in. You were in love with him. You loved Cove. You knew that fact for certain. There was no one else you had held those feelings for. It was strange to look back on it all. The future faded into your present, and then the future faded into your present, and then it was simply the past. Even the most fundamental parts of your life couldn't last forever. You felt that most pointedly the day you inevitably graduated high school. It was over, and you would not be going back ever again. From now on, what came next was your choice. You would be directing your own life. It was where you were currently. The summer after school had ended. The first summer of true freedom. What used to be a reprieve from the typical was now going to be your first step into adulthood. Okay, summer after high school, let's go. One fine summer morning, you took in what had become a very special scene, the whole family having a meal together. Your big sister Liz still hadn't lived at home full-time for a couple years, but she arrived last week to spend the season here since it was an off semester for her. She wanted to make sure she was in town because you had now also graduated high school, so who knew how much rarer these moments would become in the future. You watched as Liz laughed good-naturedly over a comment Mom made. Her Elizabeth-only mindset had only been a phase. Nearly any nickname was welcome at this point in her life. Strangely, even though she'd moved away, you'd lately felt closer to her than you had in a long time. You idly scooped up more of your breakfast and chewed absent-mindedly. You generally ate whatever. And the meal you had reflected that. It included just about everything your moms had made, though you often made your own food nowadays. With Liz around, though, your parents made even more options than usual. Your sister had been vegetarian for a while, and they wanted to make sure she had choices too. Conversation had gone on idly without you fully taking in the words until your ears were piqued when Moss started on a bit of town gossip. And so that's how I heard the news. Alright, now stop bearing the lead. Okay, I've never heard that phrase before. And tell us, what is this so-called news? Ma giggled as she cast a look across the table, satisfied that she had everyone's attention. Well, it turns out the Donalds won't be renting out the condo up the street, as per Sunset Bird tradition, for the first time in what must be nearly 2 decades. A chorus of gasps and shocked expressions had all around. After the initial shock, your eyebrows pinched. Mom may consider them by name, but you and Liz always viewed them exclusively as the mean old couple who would yell at anyone under 25 who crossed their path. Your mom continued on with the story, spreading strawberry jam over a piece of toast as she did so. They've decided not to take big trips anymore. Friends and family will be visiting them at their home. That's nice for them then. Have a good summer. That's nice for them then. Have a good summer, me and grandparents with no grandkids away from us. We'll say I hope they're still okay, even if they are mean. They've had a very full life, it's nothing to sneeze at. And you be nice, Liz. You don't want to end up like them, do you? You and your sister cracked smiles at the joke.
Well?
At least they won't be here to yell at my children anymore.
Lonnie!
And that blunt comment got laughter from all 3 of you. Engrossed in conversation once more, you continued to chat with your family until the meal was over. Yep, let's go. As it went, once the food was eaten, the cleanup had to be done. Liz took the role of washing the dishes and passed them to you for drying and putting away. You had a set of cups in front of you that needed to go on the top shelf of the cabinet. How tall are we? We're tall, but how tall? Are we very tall or just tall? We'll just go with tall. Task was pretty straightforward for you. You were tall. That was simply your lot in life. You'd always been vertically gifted. I'll just say we feel great about how things were. Your height was something about yourself that you were always quite pleased with. Liz shook you out of your internal musing by starting up an impromptu conversation. She seemed to be voicing the thoughts that had been buzzing around in her own head. I have to say, going back for another semester this fall is pretty intimidating. You'd think after the first year or two I'd have a handle on things, but no. You stole a glance at her, still placing cups in the proper place. I guess it's only fair. My first round was pretty general classes, and year one of my architecture major was the basics. That is a fair point. It is often like third year when it really starts getting serious. Well, at least at most universities in the US. Now it feels serious. I have to actually know some things. The laugh she gave was flippantly airy, but the way she scrubbed at the plates held more force than necessary. You can handle it. How sweet of you to believe in me, thanks. Your older sister's mouth quirked into a small smile. It'll be fine, one way or another. Oh, but I'm not trying to scare you away from college. If that's, if that's even your plan. What's going on with that anyway? We're gonna say... a firm conclusion recently. You answered the question as much as you were able and willing to. Liz's smile grew more reassuredly as you did. You made it through 12 years of full-time education already. You can make your ideas happen, I'm sure. Sometimes it still felt hard to believe your public schooling experience was over. And graduate top of your class. And we're gonna miss it. Felt satisfied leaving off there. They felt satisfied leaving off there. It had been a familiar and fulfilling part of your life, but you were ready to move on. Liz picked up on the silence her question ended up creating. She decided it was time to make a closing statement on the topic.
You're a good boy.
Do what's best for you, and we'll be here to back it up. Thanks, Liz. At that, Liz happily passed the final dish your way. She waved a soapy, soaked hand as farewell and moved on to her next task for the cleanup job. You refocused on getting the last pieces put back where they belonged. You eventually moved on to a new chore, but that was interrupted by the sound of your cell phone. The phone was set to just vibrate. You casually picked it up from the table where you had placed it earlier. The phone was a couple years old at this point, having been a 16th birthday gift from your parents. They decided which model to get, but you got pick the color. Oh, what color is it? Red or blue? Right? Yeah, my first proper smartphone was blue. No, I don't think I've ever actually had A red smartphone. I've wanted one before. Let's go with red. And it had a special charm attached to it. A charm. The crab keychain Cove bought when we were a kid. Maybe. Ooh, yeah, crab keychain. Pleased when you finally had a prominent place to use the gift. The screen lit up as you gave the little device a swipe with one finger. You're informed by caller ID that was Lee. You weren't surprised. Despite having busier and busier lives and not living in the same town, you still had a good relationship with your cousin of the same age. Especially once the miracle of you both having your own phones actually happened. She got hers first, though. Tapping at the accept button, you answered her call. A familiar, bubbly voice came through right after.
Hi.
Oh, look at the little crab, it's so cute. I just realized we have a red crab on our red phone. Hiya. I trust I'm not interrupting anything major? Only some cleaning around the house. Oh, then you're welcome for my call. A distraction from that must have been desperately needed. But I love cleaning. Hey, I love doing chores, you joked, or I like cleaning, you protested earnestly. Do we want to joke about it? Or, like, be serious about it? We'll joke about it, because we do like talking to her. Yeah, so we'll do, hey, I love doing chores, you joked.
Right?
Of course, who wouldn't? She giggled and you could hear the jangling of the joy she must be wearing. Nothing amazing is happening for me either. I'm bored and felt like chatting. My morning shift ended, so I'm free for the rest of the day. Woo! That's good. Have we started working yet? I say we hadn't started working anywhere yet, so you could relate. Unlike you, Lee had started dipping her toes in the workforce as of late. It made keeping in touch frequently even more complicated, but you both managed. What about you? It's been pretty normal. That's you then. So, how's Mr. Cofolden doing? There was a teasing bent to her tone. Let's read that again. There was a teasing bent to her tone. She was never willing to let up on what was going on between the two of you. But that name was incredibly familiar to your ears, Cove, your next door neighbor for the past decade at this point. But he was far more than just someone who lived on the same street. You vividly remember the summer day you expressed your feelings for each other as little 13-year-olds. Yeah, you started officially dating years ago. One thing you hadn't admitted yet, or it's not what you want to talk about this. I guess we'll go with the one thing you hadn't admitted yet. So, you're in love with him, but that was one thing you hadn't admitted yet. Are you even surviving without the boy being 10 feet away at all times? Or is everything right with the world again? He's back. No, Lee, he isn't here. Just like he wasn't here yesterday, or the last time you asked, or the time before that.
Sorry.
Aw, my bad. Can you blame me? Doesn't it seem like he should have made it his grand return already? Plus, I want to visit soon, and he needs to be there too. You could understand where she was coming from. This was certainly outside the norm. For the past couple of months, and the last few weeks especially, Cove had been going to his mom's place in Nevada. The two of you still regularly stayed in contact, over text and calls, but still. Your mind began to drift back to... Nope, that's not what that says. Your mind began to drift back in time to all the prior trips you'd taken to visit her. Almost every year, he'd have to go away for a while, and then he'd be back. Made you sad and lonely when it happened? You weren't a fan but made do? What do... You weren't a fan, but you made do. Sent him letters, that's cute. Care packages, special treasures to take with him before he left. Oh, these are all good options. I like the letters. We'll do you sent him letters the entire time he was away. Joe made sure to mail some back to you too. So cute. That's how it was in the past, but lately I've been trying to see her as much as he could before taking long trips to another state became too impractical to do. His part-time work could become full-time soon, or he could be moving someplace else for school. Cove hadn't actually been entirely clear what his plans were after graduation. Cove was hesitant to speak on that, even with you. It couldn't be avoided forever though, you both knew that.
Well?
Maybe we should switch this up to a non-Cove related topic? Sounds like a plan. The rest of the conversation rolled on. Not much longer though. Lee had to go, and you needed to finish your responsibilities around the house. The both of you exchanged goodbyes, then you went back to what you'd been working on before the call came in. As you wrapped up the last of your chores, you were approached by Liz wearing a cheeky smile. Well, that's a fun hat. It's plain on the outside, but has like a bold pattern on the inside. I've got Mom's keys. Want to get out of this tiny town to do some shopping in a real city? That sounds fun.
Good.
Good, I'm driving. That was obvious you didn't know how to drive. We're gonna do that, because I don't know how to drive. Go get your wallet and anything else, we're going now. With a nod, you made a quick detour to collect your stuff from your bedroom. You had money saved up from gifts you received. Oh, we don't get to see the bedroom yet? I want to see what the bedroom looks like. After making sure you were both fully prepared for the long haul to the largest city in the surrounding area, you buckled into the car. It was a smooth ride there, with light conversation about what shops to shop at and the radio blasting. The trip there breezed by, and in what felt like no time, you had gone from cruising down the road to cruising through the mall. Liz had her interest to check out, and you had yours. We'll say our hobbies and skills were were still the ones you developed when you were younger. When turning a corner down a new length of mall, your eyes caught on the little gift store. Your friends and family had recently given you many presents for graduating high school. You had a gift of your own, ready to give Cove when the chance came. Something you had known you wanted to do, and you were looking forward to seeing his reaction. Graduation may have already come and gone, but Cove wasn't really around, so you had to wait. Eventually, the mall was explored in full, and I'm making up words that are not on the screen. Let's try this again. Eventually, the mall was explored in full, with every shop of note being checked over. Rather than going home, you decided to walk over to some smaller stores nearby. Liz had many thoughts on that topic.
So?
Honestly, malls are not a bastion of society. Even a smaller store requires even if smaller stores require extra distance, the brands are so much more. Leah's sister abruptly stopped speaking and walking, right in the middle of the path. It was a good thing no one was behind her. She seemed to utterly shut off for a moment. Liz? The attempt to catch her attention was unsuccessful. Something else had all her focus. Before you could puzzle out what might be happening, she began to mumble out of the corner of her mouth. June, don't draw attention, but look. What? With a harsh whisper and a subtle jerk of her head, she urged you once more.
Hey!
Look. You followed her gaze as best you could to a large bunch of colorful teens strolling down the same path. Okay. You faced back over to your sister with a confused expression and an unspoken question. What were you supposed to be seeing there? June, doesn't one of them seem familiar? She was practically bouncing at this point, so you looked the group over again, and this time you saw what she was seeing. Oh, he's cute. Okay. The first thing that came to my mind when I saw him was Mia from Skate. I think it's a combination of the green and purple is similar to his character's colors. And the character design itself kind of reminds me of the voice actor of Mia. He's kind of cute. He's the not Mia. Amongst the collection of strangers was brown hair, gray eyes, and lots of freckles. It's Shiloh, our Shiloh from when we were kids. Yep, that was definitely him. I can't believe it. He's honestly just there. That's hilarious. That's incredible. Oh, but how do I talk to him? We'd have to pull him away from all those other people, and what if I'm wrong? Mouth opened to reply, but she cut it off with her own answer to the question. Got it. I'll shout the name Shiloh, and then we can act like it wasn't us. If he responds to that, we'll know without a doubt it's him. June, keep an eye out to see if he looks. I don't even know how to react. We'll go with that. Without even needing confirmation from you, Liz put her plan into action. Shiloh! She loudly projected the word across the way and then put on an act of casualness, turning her head away from the scene while brushing at the skirt of her dress. In a supremely awkward moment, you could only stand there as the tension in the air shifted to the two of you thanks to your sister's shout. But of the many startled bystanders who became alerted to your presence, one of them was the boy. From a distance, his large eyes met yours. He looked. A wide grin took over Liz's face. I mean, so did all the others, but if she's happy, so be it. She pushed the rim of her sun hat up and away from her face while swishing back around to greet her old friend directly. Shiloh! Waving, she stepped a bit closer to express her intention to meet. Without really closing the gap, she wanted him to come to her. Who you presume to be Shiloh looked surprised at the call-out. He stole a quick glance at the crowd he was with, and hesitantly glanced your way. He was trying to double-check something. Liz remained steadfast with her gaze trained on him, and ultimately he broke away from the rest of them. After a light-footed jog across the brick path, the young man pleasantly presented himself in front of Liz and you.
Hi.
Hi, I like your hat. Just that simple greeting made Liz giggle.
Hey.
Hello, I'm not sure if you remember this, but I'm Lizzie and that's June. We were all friends when we were little kids. Already, wide eyes grew even larger, their gaze dying between you and Liz. His previously chipper demeanor faded into something delicate. I'm really sorry, but I think you have the wrong person? You could tell not being instantly recognized was going to make this exchange more of a challenge. Still, Liz was undeterred. It was a long time ago, you were really young, I get why you feel that way. However, I'm positive I'm right. You're exactly the same. That face, the freckles, how generally you try to phrase things, you're even still wearing a hat. Instinctively, he looked up at his headwear with greased brows, not making the connection on why the hat meant something to her.
Okay.
We knew each other, okay? An uneasy smile settled on him as a silence followed Liz's speech. He was picking his next words carefully. And then the quiet was obliterated by a new voice bursting into the conversation. Kyla, what are you doing? The rest of the group already left. A field trip is not a vacation. We are on a schedule. Startled, your head snapped towards the path. A distinctly unhappy individual with piercing magenta eyes, dark brown skin, and a sharp jaw stormed your way. He carried a cloud of authority with him despite looking like he wasn't even 18 yet.
Sorry,
I didn't mean to ditch. Shiloh, whose name was now officially confirmed, gestured with a hand to add to the explanation of his absence as the stranger watched him patiently. They thought they recognized me as someone they knew, but it was a tiny misunderstanding. Liz theoretically as well as literally put her foot down at that, stomping in frustration and getting more childish the longer she was around her childhood companion.
Come on.
We do know you. Shiloh merely shrunk in on himself. The tone he spoke with was pained. Sorry. You honestly couldn't tell if he was apologizing for the upset feelings of your sister or the palpable dissatisfaction of his new acquaintance. That in itself was very Shiloh-like. Oh, you know him? Is that it? The stranger spoke with a dismissively scoffing tone, as if the words sounded so absurd to him it was almost amusing. Almost. But the sternness of his demeanor quickly reinstalled itself. Well, do you know me? I'll tell you. I'm someone who has been forced against his will to be aware of what's going on in Child's ridiculous personal life for a year. If the two of you had any importance in his general day-to-day existence, it would have come up by now. Don't bother trying to exaggerate any trivial connection you might have. It's not good enough. He's with us, and you'll survive without him. Now, stop loitering in the road. It's rude.
Excuse me?
We're the rude ones? The high-strung ranting got an audible gasp from Shiloh, who finally started to speak up again in defense. Nate, that's really mean. It's also true. We're leaving. With that declaration, the unofficially introduced Nate indignantly spun around on his heels and walked speedily towards where the group went, completely confident that Shiloh would follow behind. Oh, people can sure have bad attitudes, huh? Why can't they just try to get along? It's not hard. Don't worry though, I bet you won't have to deal with him again. And I'm sorry I can't stay to talk with you, but I hope you have a really nice life.
Bye!
And that was it. His final parting words given, Shiloh left the two of you behind to catch up with his own life that he had to go live. Liz watched his exit, stunned, only to frown when it hit her that he was really gone as quickly as he appeared. It happened so fast you hadn't even been able to get a word in. She sighed, all the energy she built up releasing with one breath. I would have told him his last name was Fields. His birthday is October 30th. That would have proved it, but no. I would grow up to be dumb? That's not very nice. I don't know, we're just gonna laugh. You knew it wasn't funny to your sister, but it was just so weird and unexpected. Do you want to catch up with him? Liz merely shook her head, pushing off childish thoughts. I think we can leave it there, thanks. He's in the middle of a high school field trip, and it was already enough being able to see him. There's something reassuring about witnessing firsthand that he's still out there, enjoying his own part of the world. Though, if given the chance, I could definitely have a few words with him about the company he's got. She laughed, but you could tell there wasn't much humor to it. She was mad at that guy, even if she was happy to let Shiloh go. Maybe they're only with each other because of the trip, and it's not usually how things are.
Right?
True, we can only hope the same for him as he did for us. Have a nice life, Shiloh. Good luck out there, you'll need it. We'll just do have a good life. Liz smiled at you. It had the self-confidence you knew so well from her. Come on, little baby bro, let's finish our own trip. No matter how either of you really felt about the occurrence, it was something you simply had to accept. People you know just disappear and reappear in the most unexpected ways. The two of you enjoyed what remained of your outing until it was time to return home. By the time you arrived back, the sun was already beginning to set. You arched your back as you stretched your arms towards the ceiling. While it had been a good day, it had been enough activity to cover an entire week. Liz tried to hide a yawn behind. Liz tried to hide a yawn behind her hands. You weren't the only one feeling worn out. I'll be heading up to your room, the guest room, since mine stopped being available as soon as I was out the door. Her tone was light. She'd had quite a lot to say on the subject when you first taken over her bigger room after she left for college. But there had been many trips back home for her since then. The room hasn't been hers for years. It was more of a running joke now that she continued to bring the topic up to this day. Didn't see your name on it, that's a good one. I didn't see your name on it. You wouldn't, after cleaning out every possession I left behind. That's right, I don't leave evidence behind. A small laugh was shared between you and your older sister.
Mm-hmm.
You better believe you'll be back in the guest room when you've got your own place and we're both in town for a visit. take turns. Yeah, it's fine. Wee, there is such a thing as being too generous. At least you have me to look out for you again. She flashed her familiar grin, and you couldn't help but feel glad she was back around, even if it was temporary. That she plodded off to the spare room. You were ready to do the same. Moving into a new space was your first opportunity to decorate from scratch. Oh, we can design the room. Let's go. Okay. Ooh. Okay. What layout do we want? Let's do... I think I like this one. Okay, I think I like this one. Nice size bed, simple but nice. Desk, great big bookshelf. Nice area under the window. Ooh, the trophies? Sure, we'll have some trophies. Yes, knickknacks by the windows. All the things. Oh, you can't have both. Oh, I'm conflicted. I like the lights, but I don't like blank walls. I like putting pictures up. We'll do the pictures. No, I'm not hardly feeling either of those. Yeah, I think I like this. Although, let me see, what are... This one does have more books in it. Okay, it is... Oh, that one has... Oh, how many have a guitar? I think I like this one the best. We'll go down. You're really satisfied with the feel of your tiny part of the world. Your thoughts drifted, you tried to bite down another yawn. It was no good. Your bed was now lodged in your mind, and all you could think about was collapsing on it. You trudged upstairs to your room. Stepping inside, you closed the door behind you, blocking the rest of the house. When you turned back around, you realized you were not alone there. Comfortably perched on the windowsill was someone very familiar to you. Oh my goodness! Cole's back, and he just snuck into our room. That's adorable. He looks so pretty too. Ah! How are you here? How do we respond? Okay, actually, we're gonna respond by taking a quick break because I need more water. This last hour went by really fast. Okay, quick break, and then we'll continue this little story. So yeah, be right back. Alright, I'm back. I have water. Okay, how do we respond to our very lovely boyfriend just showing up unexpectedly on our windowsill? We'll say, how are you here? Surprise? His tone was easy and relaxed. It certainly was a surprise. You had expected him to be within the state, never mind your own house. He hadn't answered how he had suddenly just appeared back in Sunset Bird, though to be fair, you had been so astonished there hadn't been much of an opportunity for him to chat with you. Thankfully, Cove was only waiting for a good moment to start and began to explain.
So,
I got in about 15 minutes ago. No one was home, so I figured I'd come in the usual way. You climbing through the window is their usual way? I like it. And you're gonna be so pretty. Ah, and you're so pretty. A small smile had formed on his face. You were still staring at him, unable to blink in case he disappeared. You could still barely believe that he was really there, mere feet away from you. I left my bags in your backyard. I hope that's alright. That was when you truly understood. Cove had come straight to you upon getting back to town. Aww. Oh, that's so precious. You were his first port of call, taking precedence above all else. Aw, that's so sweet. Even though you hadn't been in when he called, Cove had ensured that he'd see you at the earliest opportunity, rather than allowing his plans to change. Aww. We're gonna run over to him. Every second away from him was a moment too long. As you approached, Cove quickly hopped from the windowsill to meet you. Can't believe my eyes, it's the most amazing man in the world. I'm so glad you're here. I missed you. We're gonna go with I missed you. Pull him into a bone-crushing hug, jumped into his arms, kissed him. Oh, so many good options. He instinctively began to close his eyes as your face leaned closer to his. Obviously, we're kissing him on his lips. He met you partway, and the two of you shared a gentle greeting kiss. Aw, so cute! You then stepped back a bit. Cove rubbed the side of his head and furtively glanced down. Though he couldn't help getting a little nervous still, he was beaming. I missed you too. Aw. Even if he hadn't said it outright, you could have gotten the message from his body language. Cove was grinning widely, his raised cheeks bearing his eyes, which gleamed like hidden gems. But he looked at you as if you were the most exciting treasure of all. Oh, that's so cute! How was the trip? Cove's brow creased as he considered your question. Cove stepped towards you. He cupped your face with his hands, gently guiding your chin so that your eyes met his. You could feel the beat of your heart. Nope, that's not what it says. You could feel the beat of your racing pulse against his fingertips. Aw, I hated it. Let's never be apart again, okay? Well, yeah, sure. He said that absolutely as a joke, an exaggeration, something that wasn't a real request, of course, and yet, despite all that, it felt real. Your heart hammered in your chest, your head swam, cast adrift on a tide of thoughts and adrenaline. Cove smiled, as if offering a silent apology for his sudden onslaught of tenderness, but he let the words proudly hang in the air all the same. Cove told you about his trip back, Cove told you about how his trip back had gone. Soon you'd even recovered enough to actually listen. His mom was doing really well. She had a project in the works that she was thrilled about. As a result, Cove was going to be sticking around in Sunset Bird for the time being. Things were settled, as much as they could ever be. With Cove back once more, you felt at ease. Cove stretched his arms out over his head, his eyes on the window and the world beyond. The sun had set while you'd been busy reuniting.
Well,
I should probably get my stuff and see Dad. He glanced over to you with a familiar, expectant look. Come with me? Yeah. You know
cool.
I do. Cove began to head to your bedroom door. Insist on a piggyback ride? I mean, that's cute, but... you know what, we're doing it. It was a special occasion. Cove? He paused, turned to face you once more. You coming back is a big moment, something worth celebrating. What I'm trying to say is that I want you to give me a piggyback ride. Cove didn't say anything, his eyebrows raised in
Seriously?
disbelief. You want me to carry you downstairs? Yeah. Cove rolled his eyes, but he bent down so you could clamber onto his back. Climbed onto his back with ease. Sometimes it helped that you were close in height. Though your size didn't make it easier for him, Cove didn't complain. Cove wobbled as he straightened up, not terribly unaccustomed to balancing someone on his shoulders. Cove carried you down the stairs. You had to duck down a couple times, the ceiling grazing against your elevated head. Still, you safely reached the ground floor of your house. The door's gonna be in the way. Get off here so I can open it. He bent down to let you slide safely off his back. Seeing things from your usual height was disorienting after getting accustomed to looking down at everything. In all the excitement of Cove's return, you hadn't even remembered the gift you prepared. That again. Okay. In all the excitement of Cove's return, you hadn't even remembered the gift you'd prepared for when he got back. It'd be best to give it to him now, before he left your house. Can you wait here for a little while? I got something for you. Cove tilted his head, intrigued.
Really?
You nodded with some eagerness, trying to imagine how he'd react when he actually saw it. Bought Cove something special, or the gift you'd chosen hadn't been something you could buy? What if the gift you chosen had been something you could buy? I'm not quite sure what that means, but I like the possibilities. It was orange tail he'd been entranced with since you were kids. White pop from the hill buying us something you made. Let's do something we made. You rushed upstairs to collect the gift you'd made for him. It was the end product of hours of labor, including thinking about Cove, what he meant to you, and what will bring him the most joy. Scrapbook you put together, a piece of writing you pen. Piece of writing. Your heart skipped a beat as you picked it up. Excitement. I can't even read. Your heart skipped a beat as you picked it up. Excitement growing as you looked down at the paper. You hurried back down to Cove. You carefully made the trip back down the stairs. Cove looked up at you as you approached. Not wanting to put it off any longer, you hopefully held out your gift to him. This. What's written on it? Cove's eyes widened as he took it in.
That's...
Did you make that for me? His words were faint. I did. Cove smiled, blinking rapidly as he shook his head. You went to that much effort. He grinned, tearing his glossy eyes away from your present long enough to look at you. Aw, I can't believe you. I'll take it. I'll take really good care of it. He cradled the gift in his fingers as he took it from your hands. It's irreplaceable. Aww. Cove reverentially, that what I in theory said that word correctly somewhere in there. Laid the gift safe on the counter, but he didn't turn back to face you once he ensured it was secure. Though his face was angled away from you, you caught his eyelashes fluttering, as if batting away tears. His throat bobbed as he swallowed bubbling emotions. You knew that Cove could be sentimental. The gift and all the memories and feelings tied up in it seemed to have taken a toll on him. When he began to sniffle, you felt the need to reach out. Cove?
June.
Can't you just... I don't know what to do. You forcefully scrubbed his eyes, like he was trying to push the tears that threatened to spill back in. Oh, Cove, it's okay. Do you need to cry? No. No, he says as he's crying. Aw, precious baby. Nevertheless, tears had begun to spill down his cheeks. Even as he wiped them away, more took their place.
Boy.
Thank you. His voice quavered as he spoke. Cove reached out. You gladly stepped forward to meet him. He laid his warm hands against your cheeks and brought his lips to you. You kissed Cove until the need for air finally went out. Head spinning, you were glad of the security of Cove's hands. Aw, so cute. Even after your lips has parted, Cove remained close, his hands still framing your face. You didn't need words as you quietly accepted his appreciation. Cove let out a steady breath. It was far removed from the shaking gasp that had accompanied his sniffles. The tears had dried. His eyes were a little red, but open and at peace once again. He smiled, fully recovered from the emotion that had overcome him. You're really seriously too nice to me. You smiled back. I don't think there's such thing as too nice when it comes to you. Cove brushed his hand against the pale ghost of a scar on his arm. He was at a loss for what to do now. The clock ticked away, counting the seconds of silence. Once you had a chance to settle your thoughts, you figured you'd tell Cove the intriguing news. I meant to tell you earlier. I saw Shiloh today.
Huh?
Hello? Cove repeated the name, his expression blank. When we were kids, Cove pondered for a moment, then snapped his fingers. Oh, he was the freckly boy from the first summer, right? The one who moved? I met a guy named Shiloh. He looked just like the Shiloh we knew, plus however many years. But he didn't remember me and just left. Cove frowned. That's, I don't know. Too bad I missed it, though you knew him better than I did. That was definitely true. Not only had Cove known Shiloh for a short period of time, but he and Shiloh had never quite gotten along. Not that they were enemies either, just kids who were only ever together because of other people they both knew. I wonder what Shiloh's up to these days. I don't have any idea, he didn't say much. Oh well. That was everything you had on the news item, so you moved on to the next big update. Also, you know the mean old neighbors? The ones who would always yell at us? He cringed, recalling those particular memories of back in the day was not pleasant, even for someone as nostalgic as him. Yeah? They're not coming. They didn't rent the condo this summer. Cove's jaw dropped. You didn't blame him. The elderly couple had been an institution. I can English. The elderly couple had been an institution for as far back as you could remember, long predating Cove's arrival. Even now, as a teenager, you found your neck prickling as you walked by their condo, half expecting a scolding for breathing the wrong way in the vicinity of their vacation home. It was strange to think of that coming to an end. Blinked, clearly struggling with the idea in the same way you had. I didn't see that coming. People being gone, people coming back. It feels like I've missed a lot. It has been a busy summer already. Well, you hadn't missed the fireflies. They haven't shown up yet. Well, that's something. And we better not get left behind. There's still stuff to do. You nodded. As soon as you had left your house, Cove bent down to let you climb back. Cove bent down to let you climb back onto his back for the last part of the journey. Okay, that's cute. It seemed that no sooner had the night begun than it was already at an end, and the dawn of a new day was soon upon you. The next morning, your belly was full of breakfast and you were in a pleasant mood. You hoped the rest of the day followed suit. Later, you were meeting up with your friends. Wow, sentence, English, come on, brain. Later, you were meeting up with your friends, Cove, Miranda, and Terry, to go into town. It was all on short notice, but that was because everyone was just so excited that Cove was finally back home. Having a nice daydream? You blinked, pushing all your thoughts away and returning to reality. Your mom was watching you with a teasing smile.
Alright.
So, what's on the agenda today? I'm meeting up with some people. Well, I hope you and your friends have fun. Don't get into too much trouble. She winked at you. You knew both of your moms wanted you to enjoy every bit of this summer before all the big changes started. I'll try.
That'd be great.
But before you go gallivanting around town, could you bring the mail in? I'm finishing up putting the dishes away over here. Alright. Thanks very much. I'm not sure how I feel about his new hairstyle. His shirt's cool though. But I think that's my least favorite of his hairstyles. Anyways, as soon as you were outside your front door, you couldn't help but see Cove and his dad standing around in the road. They noticed you too.
Hey.
Hey, good timing. You should come join us. I need the context to know how to respond to this. Ruffle his hair, maybe? We'll kind of play it safe and ruffle his hair. Cove smirked at you, knowing exactly what you were about to do. You ruffled his hair gently, admiring how soft it was between your fingers. You smiled at him affectionately until you started taking your hand back. That's when you teasingly bopped him on the nose with your index finger. His smirk dropped into a look of surprise, and then he chuckled. He definitely thought it was cute. You noticed Mr. Holden was taking in the scene of you and Cove with a self-satisfied smile. Cove followed your line of sight and shot his dad an unimpressed look. For a moment, Mr. Holden seemed like he thought Try that again. For a moment, Mr. Holden seemed like he had a thought dancing on the tip of his tongue, but he decided to keep it to himself. So, what are you up to today? As far as I know, nothing too much. Me and Cove are meeting some friends in town later. Sounds like a plan to me. Yawning, Mr. Holden stretched his arms over his head. My boy and I have just been waiting around to see what the new neighbors are like. It was definitely his idea. I don't know how you're not interested in this. It's big news. Besides, it'd only be polite to greet the new folks in town. You've been here too long if seeing a new person around a condo is what you consider an exciting development. Yeah, sure, we'll do that one. For several moments, Mr. Holden was unable to answer. He was laughing and slightly shaking his head. You might be onto something. Cove put a reassuring hand on his dad's shoulder.
Don't worry about it.
You can still make the most of your life before it's too late.
What?
How old do you think I am? I'm not that old. Okay, maybe I am. Mr. Holden took one more glance at the currently vacant building and sighed dramatically. When he turned back to young Cove, his whole body seemed deflated. There's no sign of them, and I still need to head over to work soon. Cove gave his dad a few reassuring pats on the back. Okay, I promise to keep an eye out. I can text you if anything happens. Really?
Of course.
Well, I mean, only until I have to meet up with Terry and Miranda. Would that still work? With a wide grin breaking out on his face, Mr. Holden looked absolutely thrilled to have his nosiness nosiness enabled. That works. He moved to firmly place both hands over Cove's shoulders, fixing his child with a firm stare. Son, you are my true ally in this world. Mr. Holden stood up straighter, letting Cove go. He looked reinvigorated. Okay, with that settled, I'll go make some money. That's always been the one thing I do best. Mr. Holden Mr. Holden headed off to the garage with a big wave goodbye. Cove smiled the whole time you both watched his dad leave. We really like Mr. Holden. You've had for a long time. As soon as he was out of sight, Cove sighed lightly. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, just not looking forward to waiting. Guess I'll be hanging around the street a while. I can wait with you. You wouldn't abandon Cove there to wither on the road out of boredom. Really? Of course. I like keeping you company, remember? He stared at you a moment, smiling softly and thinking about his response.
Me too.
I like that too. Cove put his hands on your shoulders. His thumbs absent-mindedly moved in a soothing circle. The look in his eyes was much firmer. He was serious. June, you're my true ally in this world. Aw, that's precious. That got a fair amount of chuckles from you. He grinned, the stoicism fading into amusement.
Thank you.
You're always good to me. Well, yeah. You're lucky to have me. Can't help myself. I like that you're lucky to have me. Also, like, I can't help myself. We'll go with I can't help myself. Yeah? Well, good then. I don't know what I would do without you. The smile on his face reached his eyes and made you feel electric. Then he let go of you. Cove stepped over to his front porch steps, lazily taking a seat and leaning back on his arms. Our watch begins. Nodding in agreement, you joined Cove on the front porch steps. You both sat there in a comfortable familiarity as you settled in for the waiting game on the new tenants. The neighborhood was quiet, and you sighed contentedly, closing your eyes and feeling the light breeze. The only sound you could hear was the familiar jingle of Cove's wind chime. After all these years, it was still there, adorning the entrance outcropping of his house. Eventually, you both perked up at the sound of a car. A taxi followed the noise, turning onto your street. Cove's eyebrows raised at the sight, and he sat up straight on the stoop.
Oh?
It has to be them, right? Yeah, it's gotta be. Now that they're here, you couldn't help but feel just a little bit curious. You wonder what kind of person would be living in the neighborhood for the summer. Taxi pulled to a stop, as you expected, in front of the now empty condo. It was on the same side of the street as your house, a few buildings further up. Without getting to his feet, Cove tried leaning and tilting his head to get a view of the passenger door as it opened. The single occupant exited the cab. You could feel what Cove was. Wow. You could feel what Cove was in that moment. After the last grunters, this new visitor was definitely not exactly what you expected. It was a young man. He had to be close to your own age. He was dressed fully in an eclectic black, white, and gray outfit. Even his side-swooping hair matched the scheme. His eyeballs on his shirt. That is quite a bold look. The only other pop of color from something that couldn't easily be fashioned into submission, a pair of dark brown eyes, which you caught when he looked over at his audience. Hello folks, who might you be? We're the neighbors? Smile already prominent on his face curled further. It was cocky, but you did get the impression it meant something adverse. Hallelujah. You and Cove shared a familiar look with one another, bewildered even further. The color-coordinated man left it there. However, with a firm click, he shut the door of his ride. Then he turned his back to you to retrieve a large, unsurprisingly, black suitcase out of the trunk. Continuing on with his own business, he strolled forward and lightly tapped on the driver's side window with his knuckles, asking for them to roll it down. When opened, he leaned down and rested his arm on the edge. You assumed he was thanking the driver for getting him there, considering he slipped them a tip during the brief chat. They shook hands, and then he pushed himself up and away from the taxi with both arms, giving the driver room to leave. The taxi pulled away, rolling carefully down the road and out of sight around a corner. The new renter had officially arrived. He left his suitcase on the ground, out of the way of the street, and sauntered over your way with the confidence of someone who had been invited to join. Cove finally stood up to greet this person. You followed suit.
Excellent.
I'm Baxter Ward. It's excellent to meet you, neighbors. We're standing on the side, you were standing on the side he was approaching from, where when Baxter got close enough, he offered his hand to you first. Take it. Baxter gripped your hand firmly to give a satisfying shake. Hi Baxter, I'm June. Hey June, I'm quite keen on getting to know you better this summer. We could be good friends. From the other side, Cove made a sudden sputtering noise. And you are? He lifted his hand out to Cove next. Cove shook his hand, still eyeing Baxter carefully. I'm Cove. Baxter's whole demeanor lit up for unknown reasons. His eyes shone as he studied Cove a moment.
Really?
You quite like his voice. Now wait, is that a nickname or your real name? It's just my name. Cove spoke mildly, having given that explanation many times in the past. But it clearly charmed Baxter all the same. He tossed his head to one side with a laugh. Your parents knew exactly what they were doing. I can't imagine a more fitting name for the face I'm seeing. Cove. That's gorgeous.
What?
It's really not. Hey, only I get to fluster him? That's kind of cute, but, he's taken. I'm just gonna say I don't know what to say. After a noticeable pause, Baxter caught on that he made you both uncomfortable.
I'm sorry.
It wasn't intended to mean more than it did. I like your name, but you don't have to mind that. I'm patently against stepping on anyone's toes. He chuckled to himself. It seemed like there was some extra meaning hidden there in his words, and you noticed that Cove raised an eyebrow, picking up on that too. Baxter didn't even open his eyes to see your faces. Baxter didn't even open his eyes to see your faces to know he had some filling to do. He stood up straighter, striking a slight pose with the position of his feet. Ooh. I'm a ballroom dancer, hence the phrasing. That's cool. Oh, I don't know much about dancing, but that's pretty cool. It's not hard once you get the basics down. Cove didn't look convinced at all. Baxter took that as a cue to keep talking.
Well,
He grinned in a way that was rapidly becoming familiar to you. If either of you are ever looking for a partner, I'm available. Okay, that could be taken multiple ways. Cove peeked at you, smiling softly. You felt his familiar touch as he squeezed your hand for a moment. I already have a partner. Jun is the only one I'd want to dance with. Sorry, he's my boyfriend. You're both together? Yeah, we are. Now that's crushing, but makes sense. I got here too late. Should have taken a semester off sooner.
I get it.
That's a joke. Really, I didn't mean to intrude on anything you have with the offer. Exactly, Ko was the guy I dance with. Baxter smiled and nodded understandingly, letting the subject go. I mean, I'll dance with Cove. I mean, if Baxter wants to give free dance lessons to us, I certainly won't say no to that. After that, there was a lull in conversation, and Cove attempted to fill it.
So,
What made you decide on Sunset Bird? Oh, yes, well, my parents rented a condo, so I had a place to stay while I'm off for a semester from college and not living in the dorms. There was a playful glint in Baxter's eyes as he continued.
honestly,
Ideally, they wanted to send me somewhere that wasn't too exciting, but lucky for me, they picked the wrong street considering the two of you live here. Baxter then preemptively lifted his hands up in front of his chest, giving the gesture for meaning no harm. It's nice not to be the only one my age around the neighborhood for an entire summer, nothing more. That was a story you had heard before. The same one as when Lonely Cove and his dad moved in all those years ago. Cove wasn't relating still. You could have phrased it like that in the first place. I don't feel a need to keep words of praise to myself, but they're not romantic come-ons. I see that you two are very much a committed pair. I'd rather like to be friends if we can, but that's all. It's okay. I'm just gonna be unsure of how to react. Baxter looked at you and smiled apologetically. I'll keep it in check. Thank you. Shifting his weight to his other foot, Baxter tried to move forward.
so
So, which condo is yours? How long have you been living together? Oh, no. Ko sputtered again, and unintentionally a laugh escaped you.
that's
We're both your neighbors, but we live in different houses with our parents. As if second nature, the two of you pointed to your homes, the buildings directly across the street from each other. Baxter's eyebrows raised at that. Your neighbors who started dating? What a couple of lovebirds. You're the backbone of a romantic society. Okay. Honestly, I hope you never break up. If you can make it work, there might be a chance for the rest of us. You knew Cove well enough to tell there was a little bit of amusement of his expression, but he sighed in exasperation. After that, you had no doubts about his claims of being complimentary. You shook your head at it. Too much again? Kind of. Well, if either of you are free, I'd be thrilled to hang out this summer. Well, we can save the schedule talk for later. I should get my things inside. He gave a small nod of the head and flashed you both a dazzling smile.
Goodbye.
Goodbye for today. Bye. Cove gave a small wave as well. Bye, Baxter. See you. Baxter then turned on his heel and strolled back to his suitcase, picking it up and bringing it to his condo. You and Cove were silent as Baxter unlocked the door and disappeared inside the house. With him completely out of the scene, Cove let out a long breath.
Well,
I don't know how I'm gonna explain that guy to my dad. You burst into a fit of laughter trying to imagine the conversation. At least the job is done. We saw the new neighbor and now we can go meet up with Tara and Miranda. Yeah, we should get going. You gave Baxter's condo one last glance over your shoulder. You weren't sure how to feel. Yeah, we'll go with we weren't sure how to feel. It's like, he seems like a good guy, but he also seems like he might just be a bit much. Honestly, you didn't know if you would ever come to a conclusion about him. Baxter was just so different. Turning your attention back to Cove, you pushed all thoughts of Baxter aside. You both started making your way towards town. I like how it just kind of like ignored the fact that our mom sent us out to get the mail. And we just never came back with the mail. We're gonna take his hand. You slid your palm onto his, and Cove laced his fingers with yours, his expression instantly becoming happier, and he lightly squeezed your hand. Aww, so cute. A little while later, you and Cove reached the main street of town. All of a sudden, you stopped walking. Wrong. I think I felt my phone vibrate. You dug your cell phone out and looked out with a satisfied grin. There was a new message. Before you could read it, you were distracted by a small, amused noise from Cove. His head was slightly tilted to the side as he carefully looked at your old keychain. I can't believe you still have that. Of course I do. I love it. Well, someone was crazy enough to get it for me, so I may as well use it. Or you shouldn't be surprised. Those are all good options. Just do. Of course I do. I love it. You meant it. The intensity of your words had Cove blushing and looking away from you. For a moment, you were both at a loss for words. You were sucked into remembering that day. Wow. Let's try reading. Okay. For a moment, you were both at a loss for more words. You were sucked into remembering the day he bought it for you. Cove was the one who spoke up again.
it's nice.
I'm actually glad you like it. He looked back at you with a playful grin. Especially since it cost me a whole $6. That's like $30 in kid money. His matter-of-fact tone had you laughing deeply. It took several moments to compose yourself enough to speak. I didn't realize that was the going rate. It was then, probably more now. So you're trying to say that you're a big spender? In kid money, yes. I was definitely a high roller, remember? That had you both bursting into fits. Smiling, you refocused on the task at hand. You opened the new text from Miranda, and all you saw was, "I can see you." Immediately from where you stood, you started swiveling your head around. You couldn't spot Miranda anywhere, but she did send you more messages. I saw you holding Ko's hand. Scandalous. Where are you? Come on. Really? Oh, which one? I saw you holding Ko's hand. Scandalous. Where are you? The message was sent, and you were back to looking around, scanning for any sign of movement and familiar faces. But they were still invisible. Cove looked at you carefully, raising an eyebrow. You grabbed onto Cove again, wanting to show Miranda how scandalous you could be. Or you sighed at the ridiculousness. Those are both really good options. We're gonna sigh at the ridiculousness. You weren't sure what Miranda had planned next. Cove looked at you, puzzled, raising an eyebrow. What's happening? Before you could even begin explaining anything to Cove, you both snapped your attention to yelling from across the street. And there you saw Miranda and Terry coming out from behind the backside wall of the grocery store. They both started waving wildly to draw even more attention to themselves. Cove took a step in their direction. Grinning, he put his hand around. Cove took a step in their direction. Grinning, he put his hands around his mouth to better project his message across the street. Hey! Laughing and arm in arm, the girls stopped only to look both ways and then rushed across the empty street.
Hi.
Hope you weren't waiting too long.
Hey, buddies.
Hi. That joke was not funny. It kinda was. Amazed, how did you appear out of nowhere? I'll just say hi. You're both happy to see your friends. Their little tease on you was already long forgotten in your mind. Terry then closed the distance between her and Cove and crushed him in a painfully tight hug. You're finally here! It's been so long! What took you? He did his best to eke out a reply with his chest being compressed.
Sorry.
Eventually, she let him go. Terry looked at him with a beaming smile, but Cove was distracted, rubbing his arms. Standing there, Miranda shifted her weight to her other hip. She watched Cove patiently with a bashful smile. Welcome back. Thanks. It finally felt official. Everyone was together in one place. From here, you weren't sure how often you would have another afternoon like this again. They didn't either.
So?
Terry poked Cove square in the chest. You're gonna have to give me your schedule by this time yesterday.
No way.
Not really possible, Terry, but I can say as soon as I know. So far, work hasn't said anything, but I can tell you I'm busy with Orca activities. When Cove wasn't at his part-time job or pursuing his academic interest, he volunteered for the Ocean Restoration California affiliation, Orca. The group focused on cleaning up beaches and removing pollution from the ocean. Cove always loved the sea. It didn't surprise you one bit when he started getting involved with them. Sure, we'll join too after learning of it. A big Smash event for the year is coming up. It's coming right up. There we go, isn't it? Yeah, there's not that much more to do before then, but I'm kind of looking forward to the fundraising push. Hopefully we can pull it off. If anyone can do it, it's you two. And even if it goes really bad, it'll still look good on a college application at least. That's true.
Hey!
Hey, guess what else? We don't have to stand here to say stuff. Let's go. I would like a meal now. Working up, Cove nodded in agreement. Yeah, for sure. The four of you headed into town, happily chatting the whole way. The only decision left to make was where exactly to stop and eat. The rest of the afternoon and evening passed by in the blink of an eye. When night fell, it was time to head home, and you parted ways with Miranda and Terry. You and Cove reached your neighborhood without event. It was late enough that your out-of-the-way street was dark and silent. We'll amble along. With every step, you knew that your fate was being sealed. Your feet were going to be sore well into tomorrow. It was taking a lot of mental focus to keep up and walk alongside Cove. As you peered at his face out of the corner of your eyes, you wondered why he felt so distant to you. It was out of character. For a while, Cove silently stared ahead and left you alone to your own thoughts. It surprised you when you did hear his voice all of a sudden. He still wouldn't look at you. Feels weird coming back to the neighborhood and trying to get into things like they're the same. And they're not. They've changed. They're still changing. Your mouth felt uncomfortably dry all of a sudden. It was true. The things that kept the people you knew together were starting to disappear. Each person had to make their own priorities and their own path now that it wasn't set for them. You thought about your own immediate future. You were still set on that for yourself. I want to go to school full time. Focus on time that's not school or work. Let's see, for your education, you thought you'd... Oh, so many options. I mean, online classes are convenient. Or a public university. But online classes that mean that basically we could go wherever Cove goes. So that's probably the most logical one. But going to an actual university would be nice too. Let's do online classes. Or, I don't know. Or attend a public university. Let's do online classes, why not? I guess you could do both. Online classes and a public university. Yeah, one of those two options. Let's see, for yourself, you wanted to work on self-improvement on your own or take some time to just relax. Self-improvement's always good. We'll do self-improvement. Well, and take time. We'll just do all of the above. And for that, you wanted to... Oh, so many choices. Stay local, go to different... You travel around to different places? That kind of leaves it open. That'll be happening so soon. Obviously you'd already applied to schools. You started to prepare for what was coming. Well, starting to prepare for what was coming would include applying for schools. What is that one? Been open about your situation. Everyone knew. Now you wonder what Cove had in mind. You'd heard him consider some things for his future, but it was never anything that would have counted as a real plan. Making it back home, you both stopped in the middle of the street. Cove sighed. Cove looked at the ground for a moment. His mouth trembled, trying to settle on the right words to say. So, you're planning on relaxing for a while and stuff while traveling? Yeah? Cove closed his eyes and nodded while he composed his thoughts. He looked at you when he lifted his head.
I mean...
Decided on something. Well, kind of. He smiled slightly and rubbed his arm. Then his expression grew more serious. I'm not going to decide on a school or a career, not this summer. I'm going to stay here, at least in Sunset Bird. I'll probably move out of my dad's place. I'll keep working my job, keep doing my volunteer stuff, and everything else.
I don't know.
Maybe I'll know what I want for myself by fall, or next year, or maybe I'll never have a plan. Life will continue on with whatever's happening. I'm not going to crush myself trying to have everything figured out by a timeline that someone else has set. I just can't do it. His brow furrowed and his tone was tense. It was clear how much expectations were weighing on him. I know that's not very exciting, but it's the best I can do right now. He laughed self-derisively, but with the way his face looked, you thought he actually wanted to cry. You smiled or you looked at him deeply? I guess I'll look at him deeply. Plan sounds fair, you. I want you to come with me. Oh, that's a tough one. Your plan sounds very you. Miss you. Oh, this is so hard. I feel like that one's the most encouraging. This one's the most... I guess the most accurate, but it might be putting too much pressure on him. Maybe I'll miss you as a good middle ground. Like, encouraging, yeah, do your thing, but also shows your feelings. Yeah, we'll go with that one. I'll miss you. It took a lot of strength to keep your voice even. You want to support him, but you could already feel your chest tightening, imagining what it would be like without him right there. Aww. His face crumpled, and your original assumption was proven correct as tears easily began to fall from his eyes. His chest heaved and his words were whispered. Oh no, baby! No matter what's happening, I want you to know that you won't ever lose me. I won't really be gone. I'll still be there for you the best I can, whether it's long distance or whatever. Aww. Cove's whole expression softened. His lips pulled into an affectionate smile.
It's okay.
Aww, June, you deserve to have everything you want in life. Aw, that's so cute. I want you to get everything you want in life. You teared up. You're the only thing I want. I don't know. We're gonna go with you're the only thing I want. It came out softly, almost a whisper. You could hear your heart drumming loudly in your ears. Looking at you fondly, Cove took a step closer. Then he brought a hand to your face, cupping your cheek. Dotingly, he... I can read. I can totally read. Dotingly, his thumb lightly brushed your skin. A shiver shot down your spine. He spoke to you softly. Wholeheartedly, he meant every word. Things are hard right now. It scares me, but it'll be okay. It'll be more than okay. Now that things are up to us, we can make our lives better than they ever were. Aww. You believed him, yes. No matter how daunting the future could be, he was right. You would be okay. Deeply you met Cove's gaze. You nodded. At that, his expression morphed into a look of careful confidence. Clearly, he was still struggling with this topic, and you wondered what else might be on his mind. This was the start, I think, but it's not over, is it? We'll have to keep talking about it going forward. Yeah. Cove softly reiterated his promise. It'll be okay. We'll still always be there for each other. Is that good with you? Obviously. It is. Cool. That's cool. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you. Night. He pulled you in. He pulled you into an unexpected hug. It knocked the breath out of you, yet couldn't have been more reassuring feeling. You returned to his embrace and stayed that way for as long as you could.
Good night.
He finally let go, giving you another smile. Then Cove started walking away, but you remained there, frozen in the middle of the street. You watched him and wondered, how many more times will he be able to say that how many more times will he be able to say that he'll see you tomorrow? You hoped for countless more times. Finally, you turned towards your own house. You vowed to yourself that you would make the most out of every moment you had this summer. Ah, so many feels. I love it. Okay. I need to figure out my timing for today. Part of me wants to keep going, but we are at a good pause point. Okay, I think... I don't know. No, I think we're gonna... I don't want to stop, but I kind of need to for today. Because, for one thing, I need food, and it's hot in my room. Okay, I'm gonna be good. We are gonna stop here for today. So that I can go work on this stuff. Oh, I love this game so much. It's just so good. I need to know what happens next. But we'll save that for next week. But yeah, anyways, thank you all for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, so that's the last stream for this week. I'll get my schedule for next week up at some point in the next 3 days. Possibly today, possibly tomorrow, maybe Sunday. I'm not sure. My schedule will be up when it's up. I mean, it'll be most likely more or less the same as this week. We'll see. But yeah, schedule will be up at some point. But yeah, that's all from me. I hope you have a great rest of your day, a great weekend, and a great however long until I see you again. Until next time, bye-bye.